This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The B.S. Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The B.S. Report. The B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the B.S. Report Tuesday morning here in Southern California. Cousin Sal coming up on the B.S. Report. We are going to belatedly pick the Super Bowl line and then talk about the AFC NFC title games as well as the Super Bowl coming up in 12 days in New York City. Actually, it's not in New York City. It's New Jersey. Anyway, we had an interesting last week on Grantland. And if you go there, you can read all about it. It started with a story that we did about an inventor of a putter, and it was initially well received, and then it wasn't, and it was a very interesting weekend. And I wrote a piece about it. So did Christina Carl from ESPN.com. Go to Grantland, check it out. If you don't know the story, anything that happened, everything's there. And I said everything I needed to say in that piece. We are moving on. Cousin Sal on the B.S. Report right now. All right, Cousin Sal, sorry we didn't do this yesterday. I feel like I was way off on the Super Bowl line. Let's just get that out of the way. I picked Seattle by 3.5, and I don't think I've ever been more wrong in my entire life, which fits into everything else that happened this season.
Yeah, I didn't know. I went Seattle -1, and it opened at Pick'em or Seattle -1, and like 170% of the money jumped on Denver almost immediately. And it went almost to 3. It went to 3 on sportsbook.com and then 2.5. And now it's settled around 2.5. So I don't think anyone's letting, everyone's taking, the casual bettors are taking Peyton Manning at a pick 'em. So
I'm very surprised. I'm confused. Denver beat a 9-7 San Diego team that, had they stopped at 3rd and 17, would have had the ball with a chance to tie.
Right.
Then they whooped the Patriots, let's be honest. They had 500 yards rushing, or 500 yards in offense, 36 minutes time of possession. I didn't think Brady played that well. I actually didn't think Brady played well, period. I think the Pats should have at least been able to score in the 20s in that game. I didn't feel like it was a dominant performance by Denver or anything. When I watched that NFC title game, it just felt like a different level of football. It's really hard for me to believe that wasn't the Super Bowl. Does that make sense? What do you think?
Well, I think the Patriots-Broncos game was, first of all, the one thing we learned this past weekend was the Colts were the softest playoff team, not even in the last round, but maybe overall.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that gave you a false sense of confidence when you stomped all over them. And you actually said that. That's the kind of team you could push around. And they give up, in the 40s to the Chiefs at home, and it just, they flexed their muscles a little too much, and then they ran into a guy who's up against this is his legacy, Peyton Manning. I almost think it was bigger for him to beat Brady there than to even win the Super Bowl. But at what point did you feel it was over? Like, knowing that they had come back from 17-0 earlier in the season from Denver, when did you write them off, the Patriots?
I wrote them off on Saturday morning when my daughter, who had a soccer tournament all weekend, when I found out that we were playing at 1:15 West Coast time during the Pats-Broncos game. Now,
really?
What would you have done?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so you find out Saturday that there's a game Sunday, and wow, what a conflict, Billy.
So I knew she had 2 games on Saturday, and I knew if they advanced to the finals, that was Sunday. So I was emotionally prepared for that. Mm-hmm. I did not know about the consolation game that I had thought was in the morning that was scheduled for 1:15.
Right.
And you don't have daughters.
No.
I'm not going to say you lucked out, because there's a lot of great things about having a daughter.
Name one.
One of the things that's not great is how personally they take stuff.
Oh, boy.
And if I didn't go to her soccer game when I could have, if I watched football over her soccer game, I really feel like long term it would have been bad for me.
Yeah. I think you have to remove yourself from it. And I know this sounds terrible. Maybe it's just fresh in my mind because I saw the 30 for 30. But I think you need to pull a Shane Stant on your own daughter, Jeff Gillooly, and someone comes in with the nightstick and hits a light tap on the knee. It just makes her sit the next game.
Well, what's funny is she got kicked in the second game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And on the knee, and it was actually a big dramatic breakthrough for her because normally it's weird. She's super tough. But yet, when she gets injured, the wheels come off.
Right.
So she got kicked. She was having a great weekend. She was really played great. I was proud of her. And then all of a sudden, she got kicked in the knee. She starts hobbling around. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, the Vince Carter treatment is on.
Yeah.
But gutted through it.
Nice.
And in the back of my head, I was like, maybe it'll be like a deep knee bruise, and she'll have to be scratched tomorrow.
Right. Oh,
but
man.
no, she's fired up. Really wanted to play. So we drive to the game.
You don't even have to tell me they lost in the finals, right? I don't know. I don't know.
They lost the second game, so it was a consolation game at 1:15.
Oh, consolation game.
So then she's like, you don't have to come. I know you want to watch the Patriots, but deep down I knew she was silently judging whatever decision I was going to make because she's just old enough to be smart enough to really hold stuff against me. So it was in Thousand Oaks. It was like an hour-long drive. And I was like, no, I'm going to your game. And the real reason I went to her game was I thought the karma of not going to her game would have single-handedly killed the Patriots.
Wow.
But anything I did was going to kill the Patriots.
Yeah.
So we drive to the game on the radio. We're listening to on the radio. You've listened to football on the radio sometimes, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the guy is never totally on point for what's happening, and you can hear the crowd in the background before it's happening.
Right,
so
yeah.
It was, like Brady overthrows Edelman, and I end up watching it, late night. But Brady overthrows Edelman on that long pass down the middle.
Yeah.
And, he was like, oh, and Edelman doesn't get it. And then like 2 minutes later, they went to the sideline guy, and he's like, boy, that was a big play. Edelman was 5 yards behind the defensive back, and Brady just overthrew it. It was the thin air.
Right.
And I was like, oh, really? And right then I knew we were going to lose. We get to the game. I have the iPad out. I'm hooked up to a Sling Blade. And it's like
Sling
13.
Box, I think it is.
Sling Box, sorry. Sling Blade. I feel like Sling Blade. 13-3 at halftime. The game starts.
Right.
Now I'm watching the game. They're down 2-0 at halftime. Check back the iPad. It's now 20-3.
And you can't even bet on this kid's soccer games, right? Like,
no, I can't bet on this.
Under in the second half with your daughter scoring.
She comes back. She scores. It's 2-1. We're coming back. The wheels come off. We give up the next 3 goals. Get in the car. The Pats are done. And that was my Sunday.
That's awful.
Yeah. And my big regret is just not betting on Denver.
Right.
Because there was no way the Pats are going to win with this whole sequence of events. And the lesson for everybody out there that's listening, all the young listeners, don't have kids.
Right.
That's I think what the big takeaway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
don't have
always
kids. It's your own fault if you have children.
Yeah. But I think you played it right. I think that was, I don't know, maybe, Brady could have suffered a career-ending ACL injury had you not gone to the soccer game.
Yeah, I felt from a karma standpoint. It's also the moment that I realized that any game my kids play in are more important than the Boston teams.
I know. Yeah.
And it's kind of sobering, but it's just true. It's your own kid. You're never going to care about anything more than your own kid. But
I have to say, watching that game, I think you would have had a weird time. Well, I mean, you saw enough of it and heard enough of it.
I watched the whole thing after the fact.
I mean, it was a weird, hopeless feeling for Pats fans, right? It wasn't like, Ridley was fumbling or Brady was throwing picks. Like, Denver, methodically picked them apart. And the first 4 possessions, they had terrible field position, Denver, and they still got the first downs when they needed to. And you're like, oh, Manning is, managing this game. Then you look up, he has 400 yards passing. It was a weird, weird game to watch.
It is pretty clear pretty early, watching it over again. Just the defense. If you can't rush Manning, with the weapons that he has, you have no chance. Right. You just don't. You have to hit him, which is why I think the Seattle matchup is so interesting for him. Seattle's 7th best defensive player in that game, once Talib went out, was better than any defensive player on the Patriots.
Yeah.
Cam Chancellor is 3 times better than anyone on the Patriots.
Yeah,
so is Richard Sherman. Michael Bennett would have been our best pass rusher by far.
Right.
We didn't have anybody. And I thought listening to it on the radio and then watching it over again, the 3rd and 10, when they can just check down to a handoff for Moreno, and it's just an open field for 25 yards. I mean, that play kind of summed
it up. They handed to the tight end who hadn't had a carry in forever.
Right.
And got like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Game planning was better. The weather broke perfectly for them. Right. That was our one chance. And really, we would have had to outscore them. It would have had to have been like a 44-41 type game to have a chance. And Brady wasn't that good.
No, and you took a couple bad sacks. You had a big 3rd down sack and a 4th down sack. It just was un-Brady-like and un-Pats-like. And
I will say that the one thing that really made me upset and made me angry, and I was listening to it in the radio when it was happening because we were driving home. It was 5-1. My daughter had finished crying, and now I was near tears. And we score. We're down 10 with a 2-point conversion going up, and I'm driving the car and I'm thinking, just don't do the play with Shane Vereen where we pretend we're going to pass, but then it's a handoff and he just runs right into the line. We've run that play in the 2-point conversion 700 times. They know it's coming. Just whatever we do, don't do that play. And then, of course, the guy's like, and here's the handoff to Vereen. And then I hear the crowd cheering in the background. He's like, and he doesn't get there. Yeah. It's like, oh, great.
The radio call's great because you can almost hear a whistle and then the play-by-play guy's done calling it 6 seconds later. All right, I know it's over. But and Brady knew that was a bad. The instant the ball left his hand, he covered his head oh, what have I done? But I feel bad for him. The options aren't there at the 2.5 yard line anymore. You have the tight end with 17 letters in his name, and there's not a lot of great play calls there.
Well, and the other thing is, we have no receivers. Another red flag. Hench emailed me right after it happened. Our crazy friend Hench, Patriot fan. They ran the deep pass early to Matthew Slater.
Yeah.
Who's our special teams guy. This is turned into a Patriots playoff tradition. The long bomb to the guy who hasn't caught a pass the entire season. Mm-hmm. What are the odds Matthew Slater was going to catch a 50-yard pass in the freaking AFC title game? But it
I don't
spoke
even think they had odds like that. Yeah, I would have.
And then we have Austin Collie. Right. Out there in big moments, the guy's had 28 concussions and is really been I think we waived him 9 times, and he's out there, and it's just we had no depth.
That was going to be the Belichick's FU guy to Peyton Manning if the game got close. Austin Collie was catching the game-winning pass if it was at all close. But
can I whine about it for 10 seconds? I just have a 10-second whine.
Please,
everyone who's ever listened to this BS report knew it was coming.
Of course.
The Welker play was cheap.
Oh, come on.
They run pick plays all the time. They never get called.
I'll agree with you there.
It's like Goodell said he sent an email to the officials either before last season or before this season and said, look, I know how we're supposed to call pick plays, but when Denver does them, you're not allowed to call them. That's their entire offense is pick plays. It is weird to me. Collinsworth, all these guys let it go when they're doing the game. I try to look into what's a legal pick and what's an illegal pick, and boy, there's a lot of gray area there. But stop. Well, let's all agree that was an illegal pick. Well, let's all agree that there was a 100% chance that was a penalty, and you had 11 referees on the field. You had a receiver running full speed into a cornerback, and nobody threw a flag. And we had already been called on a pick play. Here's what I'll say. How do you not call that? I know you guys were called on one, but it was not one of the worst plays I've ever seen, like Bill Belichick has said. Well, one of the worst plays he's ever seen? Come on. And I'd like to apologize for him for saying that, or on his behalf for saying that. But and the other thing is, you got a guy Wes Welker. He gets a concussion adjusting his chin strap in the huddle. You think he's out for blood there? You think? I don't know. No. But it was clearly the play was called, "Hey Wes, run into the cornerback so the other guy gets open." That was the play they ran. I thought it looked like he tried to even avoid him at the last minute. But stop it! I'm telling you, please. Denver was better. They deserved to win, but that play made me mad. I think you guys ran 56 offensive plays. That's nothing. And I think it was the lowest ever for if we were at a sports book not concentrating on that game and there were 6 screens up, it would be one of those things when do the Pats have the ball? I've looked up and they don't have the ball ever. It's so perfectly planned by Denver and Peyton Manning and John Fox. I'm doing this off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But the playoff exit since winning the Super Bowl in February 2005.
Yeah.
I don't think the Pats have topped 17 points in any game except for the AFC title game in Indianapolis in 2006.
In their game, the game they lose to end the
two
season.
Ravens games.
Right.
Or no, I'm sorry, the one Ravens game, the Jets game, the two Giants games, that Denver game, and then the other Denver game in 2000 against Jake Plummer. Every single time the offense was 20 points or less. And it's just hard to believe. This has been one of the best offenses in football for a decade now. And yet in the playoffs, every time they get knocked out, it's 17 points or less. Like, I don't know what that means.
Well,
that can't be a coincidence.
Here's what you have to figure out. Is this Broncos front seven all of a sudden the best top three in the game? Or LeGarrette Blount, they held LeGarrette Blount to 6 yards on 5 carries? Like, what gives? Just was something wrong with him? Because that was the thing right there. You couldn't get the running game going.
Well, but did you think that? I didn't think they were going to be able to run the ball. Denver was good against the run against San Diego and some of these other teams.
But if he had 50 yards, Blount, instead of 6,
yeah,
I think you're in the game in the last drive.
Yeah.
You know?
In retrospect, I didn't think any playoff manifesto rules applied to that game. But in retrospect, the one rule that definitely applied was the beware of the team that looked a little too good the previous week.
Yeah.
The Pats looked so good in that Colts game, and it was such a dominant running performance that should have been a giant red flag.
Yeah.
Man, I got to say, Manning was terrific.
He was.
You got to hand it to that guy. I mean, he's definitely was somebody over the years that you just didn't trust in big plays, in big playoff games, in big moments, or at least I didn't. And the 3rd and 17 play in the San Diego game was a ridiculous throw, and he totally outplayed Brady in that game.
Super precise throws to all these guys. They're like, how did that get through? And, like I said before, he managed the game with enormous stats.
With that said, isn't this Seattle defense kind of perfect to play Denver? I feel like this is like this Denver team's put on a platter for them. Like, they're just going to hit the shit out of the receivers.
They're gonna have to pressure them, of course. Like you said, that's really the difference. But yeah, that was
cold weather.
Mean team, and if there's even an inch and a half of rain, I think that Seattle line has to go down, right? People have to fall a little less in love with Peyton Manning and see what's going to be.
I'm shocked by the line. I thought the combination of Seattle's defense, the schedule they've played all year, the cold weather, the fact that Denver had, I think, the easiest or second easiest schedule in the league. Mm-hmm. And then they've played 2 playoff games against San Diego and then a Pats team that finished 13-5, but was really like a 10-8 team.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a 13-win team.
Seattle's the better team.
Seattle's a better team.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to say don't bet against Peyton Manning, this is his year, been his year from start to finish. You could say from opening week 1. That Monday night or Thursday night game when he threw the 7 TDs, like from that moment, it's been his season, and the storybook ending is him in the Super Bowl. Like, that makes sense.
That's what keeps it going. Well, they say like 90% of those who bet on the Super Bowl are casual bettors, and even like one time a year bettors. So that's why maybe the money's staying on their side, on Denver's side, because everyone knows Peyton Manning. But
I made history this weekend, other than going to my daughter's soccer game during an AFC title game.
What was it?
For the first time since 1989, my freshman year in college, I did not have any gambling action on the AFC or NFC title games.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah.
I was going to bug you. I was in the car. It was about an hour before the game. I wasn't heading to any soccer game or anything, but I was going to bug you. But I knew you weren't going to. I like Denver and Seattle, but I also like teasers both ways, which it turned out they both won.
Yep.
Anyway, you did. As long as you didn't have New England over. They over in the New England game, you won on a teaser. But, yeah, the darling teaser was San Fran plus 9.5 and the Patriots plus, 11 or 12, 11.5?
Yeah, and that's the one I probably would have done.
Yeah.
Because you knew the Niners game was going to be close. Like, there was just no way that game wasn't going to come down in the last 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then the Pats getting 10 plus, even with the cheap cover. I still think San Francisco is the best team in the league.
Yeah.
It's a controversial opinion, but you look at what they did the last 3 weeks, how they gave away that game in the fourth quarter, how much home field advantage meant in that game. And just Kaepernick melted down a little bit. But I think if the roles were reversed, I don't think Seattle wins in San Francisco. At the very least, you have to say they're 1A and 1B. I think those teams are dead even.
It's just they can't beat this one team. They can't beat Seattle. If they get picked off in the playoffs, Seattle, San Francisco's in the Super Bowl. I don't know if anyone could argue with that. But I mean, what does Kaepernick have? Five of his 11 interceptions this year were against Seattle.
It's a tough place to play. And in the back of my head, I was battling it all week, and the reason to take Seattle was Kaepernick in Seattle.
Right.
The half point I got seduced by, I'm not going to lie. If it was 3 points, I might have taken Seattle. But going the other way, I just felt like San Francisco had the best team. And I don't think any other team could have gone into that atmosphere and done what they did.
Well, let me ask you this.
From this year.
Here's the weird thing, though. Here's why I'm so impressed with Seattle, more than anybody. Going into this weekend, of the four teams, if you would have said someone's down 10-0, who would you have thought is done? The Seahawks, right?
Yeah, I would have said Seattle.
Yeah, and they came back, and it wasn't like they were benefiting from false starts on San Francisco's side or anything. In fact, they had false starts on their side. I didn't know what was going on. But, no help from the 12th man. The fans were sort of taken out of the game. It was two huge passes by Russell Wilson.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought those up. The first one happened on a play that maybe three guys in the league can make when he just escaped guys, ran around, did the Doug Flutie.
Yep.
And then just unfurled the 55-yarder or however long that went in the fly. Who else makes that play in the league?
No, I don't know if anyone does.
Rodgers. Griffin, if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck. I don't think Andrew Luck could have bought that much time.
No, not running around.
It's just it was a specific Russell Wilson play that he's the best at making.
Kyle Orton, maybe.
Kyle Orton, Blaine Gabbert. But that play and then the touchdown throw was phenomenal.
Yep.
He had two guys open. They almost collided.
Yeah,
Where was San Francisco in that play?
But it's weird. That's all he sort of has to do is make two or three good. I mean, the third and 22 play was big, where they gained 15 yards, setting up a 4th and 7, and then he has a free shot on the offsides throwing that. But 16 for 25, 215 for Wilson. That's all you really need out of him. Maybe not even that much.
He's very similar to young Brady. From Brady, what Brady did for the Pats from 01 to 04 was just steady. Didn't do anything he couldn't do. Made a couple wow plays. He's a much better scrambler, obviously, but
and not dealing with great talent in the wide receiver department either. When Baldwin went off the field, they're like, what's going to happen here?
I enjoyed. They got that big turnover coming out of the gate, San Francisco, and then they got a couple stops. It was 3rd down, and Joe Buck's like. I'm sorry, Trey Aikman's like, Joe, this is a very important play for Seattle's defense. To get out of this with 3 points would be huge. It's like, all right, thanks, Trey. As always, a pleasure to hear from you.
That's on a card from 2007. I don't even think he's even saying that anymore. It's just situational.
You think he went to the bathroom and they just played like a Trey Aikman jukebox?
Yeah, it's like Madden 25. They have situational drops that they throw in there, and what does it matter anymore?
At the same time, it would have been nice to go up 7-0. At that point, you run like the greatest play you have in your playbook to try to do the hammer on it. But on
the road, take a chance.
The bottom line is, you convert a 4th and 7, you score on it from the 40, you deserve to win, and you get 3 turnovers basically in the fourth quarter.
Right. I mean,
pretty impressive.
Keep themselves in the game up until I think they were down. What were they down going into the fourth quarter? Were they down 7? Then they had three turnovers. Huge momentum.
Do you think Harbaugh? What's his next 3 weeks like?
Man, I thought that was bad play calling by him.
Me too. And it was bad play calling the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They screwed up. They had 4 chances to score, and they would have won the title. And nobody remembers how bad that end of that drive was.
I just think the bad play calling, there's 30 seconds. You have 2 timeouts. Colin Kaepernick, he has to be on the move. I don't care. Every
100%
play.
Agree.
He doesn't have to run for 11 yards, but put him on the move. Create some. Gore can get open. Someone over the middle. Davis.
Yeah, you said it. They had 2 timeouts. Here's the play I'm not running is the timing pattern in the end zone that tests Richard Sherman.
Yep.
That's not in my top 20 that I'm running on that one. And the Niners fans should be pissed.
By the way, let me just say, I don't know, you're talking about you were in a soccer game or something, but you called me, and it didn't sound like you were at a soccer game. I don't know, are there 2 of you or something? But let me play. You left me a voicemail.
I think somebody's crank calling you.
I don't know what's going on here.
I don't think that's not me.
Cousin Sal, it's Sports Sky. Bill Simmons here. I could barely hear myself talk. Just left CenturyLink Field. That's the most extraordinarily loud stadium since Saving Private Ryan and the Fish That Saved Pittsburgh combined. Just sitting here at the end of the tunnel waiting for my boyfriend Russell Hustle and Bustle Man Muscle Wilson. He did it. He carried that Seahawks team to the Super Bowl on his back. And to reward him, I'm going to let him jump on mine. But before that, I'm going to nibble on his ears a little. And then I'm going to make my way down and caress his brown belly with... Wait, there's Russell Hustle and Bustle Wilson right now. What's he doing? He's playing grab ass with Michael Crabtree. Let me tell you something, Crabtree. I'm the best sports writer / movie reviewer in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like you, that's the result you're going to get. Don't you even talk about me. Don't open your mouth about the best. I'm going to shut it for you real quick. And then after I'm done shutting it, I'm going to open it back up and shove a gluten-free pumpernickel bagel down your throat. Sports Sky, over and out. LOB.
Do they have gluten-free pumpernickel bagels now?
Of course they do.
Where can I get those?
Well, you were in Seattle. I guess that's where you were.
Those sound delicious.
They sell them at all the kids' soccer games.
Oh, that's great. I should have looked harder. My wife almost got in her second fight with another parent at a game, which was also great. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, she takes it personally when the other parents go overboard.
Mm-hmm.
When there's too much yelling and screaming from the parents. And one of the parents on the team was upset because they were claiming our girls were being a little too physical, which is really my girl because she's pretty physical now. But at one point the guy yelled about a foul, and my daughter turned and stink-eyed him. And I've never been prouder in 9 years. It was her greatest moment. Just totally stink-eyed and stared him down, and then went back to playing. So then my wife got riled up, and you know how they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. So it ended with, I left in one car. I thought she was leaving, but she circled back and then lectured him about behavior and told him to watch Peter Berg's State of Play documentary.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And
she's a parental activist. Nobody videotaped this, but the other beauty was when she told last season, she told a 70-year-old woman, "I've never punched an old lady before, but it's not too late to start." It was an actual quote from my wife. The youth soccer scene is something, man. It really is.
Are they serving skinny margaritas at these soccer games? She's on fire. That's great.
What a world we live in. You walked a Pop Warner ref to his car.
Yeah.
Complaining about a penalty. Parents are just nuts.
I was helping him find his car. He looked a little lost. Yeah.
Well, calmly discussing the events of the game.
Right.
All right. So Super Bowl line.
Well, so that was it. So heading into the pick, I was up 10 weeks to 9. We tied 1 week. You needed this one to tie me overall. I had Seattle 1, you had 3.5, and Denver's the favorite somehow. So I win. So you're out next year. It's me against Jalen Rose on the BS Report.
What did you say?
I said Seattle -1. I still think it'll creep back down to even.
What is our career totals? Are we tied now 2-2?
I think you're up on me.
I think I'm up 3-2.
Yeah, I'll look back. I have them, but yeah, I think you're up 3-2.
So I'm still one Subway beating up.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, we can go double or nothing on Team Chris and Team Dion. I don't know what you want to do.
Are you going to the Doobie Bowl or no?
I don't think I'm going to go. Are you going or you're leaving early, right?
Yeah, I'm out. I have no interest in being in the house when Peyton Manning wins his second Super Bowl. I'm leaving.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Would you? If you were me, you wouldn't stay for that.
No, yeah, you don't need to.
Plus, it's going to be cold. I'm going to be freezing cold watching Peyton Manning hoist the Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, right. But for comedy's sake, we'll pretend you're there in the tunnel waiting for Russell, Hustle, and Bustle.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I was upset because I was going to have Russell Wilson on a podcast. It was one of the reasons I was rooting for the Niners. If they didn't make it, then he would have been one of the people we're having on the podcast next week. We're doing a couple podcasts on the Bud Light yacht or whatever the hell.
Right.
Bud Light. I forget what they're calling it. But we're doing podcasts, I think, on Thursday and on Saturday. And,
it's going to be the most extraordinary podcast since this one, I think.
People are very excited about how extraordinary these podcasts are going to be.
You know, you must get, because I get crushed with that, just like a still of the ad, the most extraordinary movie since Saving Private Ryan. What do you get? Like 500 a day of those?
The best was that it was in Spanish. A couple people forwarded me the Spanish one. It's like, lo extraordinary. Wait, I don't even know how to say extraordinary in Spanish.
I love it. I really do. It's my favorite
Más
thing of the
mejor
year.
película.
No offense to you, but you're a basketball analyst, right?
Listen, I never asked for this. We talked about it the last time.
I know, but
they asked me for a blurb for the trailer because none of the critics had seen it yet, and I really liked the movie. I didn't expect to be involved in the campaign.
Yeah, it's weird.
Went to the Producers Guild Awards Sunday night.
Yeah.
And we lost again. 30 for 30 lost yet again.
I know. Sorry.
30 for 30 is the Susan Lucci of every award show. We lost to Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations, a show I've never seen.
Nice.
But there were a lot of people there, including Claire Danes.
Oh, I heard. Yeah.
From Homeland.
Yeah, she looked good.
She was sitting. We were at a table. The table next to us was the Homeland table, and then the table next to that, which was also next to us, was the Breaking Bad table.
Oh, that's nice.
And those guys are just, they go to these award shows now. They have the same confidence Peyton Manning has again when he's playing like,
right.
Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sitting there, just waiting to get called up.
Just yelling Omaha through everyone's acceptance speech. Yeah, our friend Doug DeLuke, his wife, likes.
Yeah, he pinched my ass for the 38th time at an award show. Yeah, I had somebody pinch my ass. Now when I get my ass pinched, I just know it's Doug DeLuca.
It's him. But while he was pinching your ass, his wife was taking pictures with Leonardo DiCaprio and using that as her Facebook profile picture.
It was great. I hope you took notice for Character of the Year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. By the way, nobody does that at these award shows.
Takes pictures of these people? I know.
Well, it's basically just producers and celebrities and nobody else. Like, there's no stragglers. So it's not one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm going to go over and get a picture with Ben Affleck. Mm-hmm. Nobody does that. So the fact that that's her profile photo now is pretty entertaining.
That's great. When did this become so star-studded? I didn't remember that, ever being like this.
You know what was interesting? I didn't even realize this until somebody mentioned it when we were there. It's the same place they do the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
And it's not that big. Like, it totally makes sense that Jacqueline Bisset took her an hour to get to the stage because it's just all these tables crammed together.
Yeah. So you think these stars are just still hung over from the Golden Globes and are just waking up in the same gown and happen to be at the Producers Award?
Might as well, but these award shows are they just keep flying them out. Who do you have for Best Picture?
I'll tell you what. I'm going to this is crazy because I went into it wanting to not like it, to make fun of you. But I liked Lone Survivor a lot.
It's great.
I really did.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was the only movie that didn't get me mad. I was like, wow, that was raw and great. And then when rappelling down the mountain, just amazing footage.
I've seen just about everything now.
Yeah.
I think Cate Blanchett's going to win.
I think she's a lock. I can pull up these odds because some of them aren't even categories anymore.
Why don't you do that? That sounds like a fun wrinkle for the tail end of this podcast.
Okay. It might take a second.
I think 12 Years a Slave is a lock.
Yeah.
I need to just lock it down because there's so many things in that category, so many movies in that category. The fact that it won the Producers Guild, I thought, was an interesting sign. People are turning on American Hustle a tiny bit.
Hated it.
Which is good. I think people are now saying the performances were great, but the actual movie was a little shaky.
Well, 12 Years a Slave, minus 260. Wow, I thought it was higher than that.
Minus 260, that's it?
American Hustle, 3-1, second place, and Gravity, 5-1 in third.
Gravity has a chance.
Yeah.
Because it was so cool and well done. I think the problem is a lot of people watch that on screeners, and that's not a movie you can watch on a screener.
Right.
So 12 Years a Slave, minus 260. What's Best Actor?
Best Actor. Hold on, it takes me a second to reload here. I think the 12 Years a Slave actor is like a runaway, and then Leo's second. Let me check it.
No, that can't be true.
Oh, I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. McConaughey is probably the favorite, right?
McConaughey minus 400. Oh, we're going to have a nice little parlay here with something.
What's Leo?
Leo is 8-1. And then
Chiwetel Ejiofor
is 2-1.
And then what about the other two?
Bruce Dern is 40-1 and Christian Bale 60-1. Is that everyone?
So now, I don't know if McConaughey helped himself with his speeches.
Right, I know.
When do they finish voting for the Oscars? They have the next couple weeks, right?
It sounded like they still have all this time. That's why they have the Golden Globes when they do.
McConaughey's speeches were not good, and it's unclear if he should be allowed to speak extemporaneously.
They get nervous about that, right?
He's incoherent.
Right.
He's just babbling about stuff.
But the 12 Years a Slave guy is gonna. What are we gonna do? I don't know.
That guy gave
I didn't hear him.
He was one of the presenters at 12 Years a Slave. Like he'd give a great speech, and Leo would be fantastic. I'm not saying that's what they would vote on, but I think like they hold weird grudges when they see speeches that they don't like. They're like, I'm not voting for that guy. He's a blowhard. He's out.
Yeah.
I would say Leo is the most interesting. What were his odds?
I just clicked off of it. Was he 4-1?
You think you said 4-1?
No, he was 8-1.
8-1. Ooh.
That could be good. He was great in that. He was great in The Wolf of Wall Street.
What about Best Actress?
Best Actress, that's The Runaway. Kate Blanchett, minus 2,500.
Minus 2,500.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's like a round one March Madness line.
I think that's the 1 versus 16.
Who's, just out of curiosity, who's number 2 for
Amy
us?
Adams and Sandra Bullock tied at 15-1. And then
Sandra Bullock, she was wearing a helmet the whole time.
Judi
Who's
Dench.
people talking about?
I know. It might not even been her. Judi Dench and Meryl Streep 30-1.
Amy Adams was great in that movie. I mean, she was great.
Really,
really great.
Honestly,
I thought it was
such an absurd script.
Well, forget about the movie. She was great. It was her best performance since Cruel Intentions 2.
I know, but I mean, when you put together these crazy, unbelievable roles for people, like should the guy who played Jar Jar Binks win an award? Because that was outrageous too. But he might have done a good job.
What do you got for Best Supporting Actor?
Supporting actor, Jared Leto, minus 1,200. That's a win, right?
I disagree.
No.
Disagree. I don't think that's a win. Who's second? Who are the other odds?
Fassbender, 12 Years a Slave, plus 550.
Plus 550. Who else?
I have to watch that tonight. And then 20-1, the guy from Captain Phillips, the bad pirate.
Yeah.
And then 30-1, Jonah Hill, who I thought was great, and you're Bradley Cooper, 30-1.
No. Fassbender, plus 550, huh?
You like that? There's always one upset like that, like a 3 or 4 or 5-1 odd guy.
I don't know if he's a lock. His speeches, I guess, he didn't do anything that hurt himself in the speeches.
But if he doesn't win and McConaughey doesn't win, are actors then going to have to lose like 130 pounds to win the awards? Like, what's the message we're sending if one of these two guys doesn't win the award, or both?
What about supporting actress?
Let's see. Supporting actress. Oh, come on. Supporting actress. 12 Years a Slave lady, Lupita Nyong'o, minus 220.
Not a lock. Who else?
Your favorite, Jennifer Lawrence, plus 140. So that
J-Law's got a lot of fans.
You like that. Then June Squibb, the 84-year-old woman, Nebraska, 30-1. Sally Hawkins, Blue Jasmine, 30-1.
Nope.
Julie Roberts, 40-1.
Oh, please. How does she get nominated?
Well, listen, Digger Phelps said that August Osage County was the most incredible movie.
Did Digger Phelps? I didn't realize he liked it that way.
So they have all the NBA analysts weighing in now since you got in on it.
He said it was the most extraordinary movie since Steel Magnolias.
That's right.
What was so J-Law is only plus 150?
140, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty enticing.
It all depends. I mean, they want to make a statement with this 12 Years a Slave movie? I mean, I guess it could run the table in every category it's favored for.
I like Fassbender as just for the odds.
And then they have director.
I like J-Law because I think people just like her. and when push comes to shove, they end up just voting for people they like.
Well, and that would go along with your best speech thing, because they think she's adorable up there.
I think the best actor thing, I just don't have a feel for it. I think it's a stay away.
The Gravity director, minus 500 to take that.
Wow.
That award. What was so hard about directing that? Maybe not. And
that was an amazingly well done movie. What were the other ones? What's Steve McQueen?
I think it's whatever you leave with the biggest headache from. That's what director should get it. Gravity gets it for me. 12 Years a Slave, 3-1 director. David O. Russell, this better not happen. 12-1 American Hustle. Scorsese, Wolf of Wall Street, 25-1, and Alexander Payne, Nebraska, 50-1.
Alexander
That's
Payne.
Not even a thing. Yeah.
I want to get to the stage of my life where I'm a movie director who could just make any movie and people are going to fall over themselves for
Which
it.
Which one of 4 of those 5?
Nebraska. Come on.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
Just stop it. Enough.
The good news is you don't even have to make an ending to these movies. You hand in 3/4 of a script and you're good.
Let me tell you something. Nebraska was not the most extraordinary movie since Saving
Private
Ryan.
Really?
Yeah, it was not.
I don't know.
1,000% was not.
I don't know.
No, it was a decent movie, but I would love. You remember when what's his face, Garth Brooks created the Alter Ego?
Yeah.
If that movie comes out directed by Joe Lewis, it comes and goes.
Right.
Nobody says anything. It was
Joe
fine.
Lewis, the boxer Joe Lewis? I don't know.
Well, Joe Lewis, I was thinking Lewis.
Yeah,
different. So it'd be like, no, it's another Joe Lewis. But yeah, I don't see that coming. Hey, what do we have to do for our cousin here? We got how many days left until the head-to-head?
What do you mean? Oh, this February 17th, is that it? February 6th, Leno's last day, and then after the Olympics, the 17th. Fallon. Yeah. What
do we have to do?
We're just going to do our thing. What do you mean?
Should we do a 3-man podcast with them? Do you think that'll sway it?
Who's the odd man? You, Kimmel, and
me,
Fallon?
and your cousin. Then we'll hit him with a pie at the end or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe we could do that. I don't know. I think we're feeling pretty good. Of course, he's going to come out with crazy numbers right after the Olympics, but around June or July, I think things will level off. I
might go on the attack.
Yeah?
Yeah. I might go on the attack a little bit.
All right, good. I'm not allowed to. I'm really, I have a gag.
No, I know you're not allowed to. No, it'll be good. Listen, competition's great. It'll bring the best out of everybody.
Definitely. And tonight on Kimmel, Greg Kinnear, Kenneth Branagh, is that it? And Young the Giant. And then later in the week, Christina Ricci, Kim Kardashian. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. And much more, much more. Kim Kardashian. And then,
you guys have Young the Giant tonight?
Yeah. Come on by.
Oh, that's kind of it. What time is that? What time do you tape?
6 p.m. Pacific time.
Maybe I'll come in and I'll park in Doug DeLuca's parking space just for all times, because there's no way he'll be there.
That's right. You get an ass pinch for that. And then my Grantland big props column. Our next podcast will be our big props, Super Bowl props podcast, and then I'll have the blog up next Friday or something.
Yeah, we have to figure out when we're taping that, how we're taping that. The Super Bowl props podcast, always one of my favorites. I don't think any of us will ever forget where we were when Henry Hinaski.
I got a tweet from someone who said he met his, just saying hi, I got engaged to the girl I met at a Super Bowl party because of the Gary Russell prop. And Russell, I called Gary Russell to score, and he scored, and he was laughing on one side of the room, and she was laughing on the other side. One of them said my name, and then they got to talking, and now they're engaged. So some good does come out of it, as long as they don't have children.
It'll be weird when they name their daughter Sal. Last thing.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble's this Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. Batista came back. It's getting good again.
You can feel the excitement in my house just in every moment as my son walks around shirtless, putting people in an armbar, counting down to the last few days of the Royal Rumble. I can't even quantify the excitement.
Can I tell you, while you were watching the girls' soccer game, we were watching. We had a bunch of guys together. Roddy Piper made a cameo appearance at Football Sunday, and taught my son the 3-finger lock and the sleeper hold and all sorts of things. And once in on WrestleMania, he was asking our input on matches. He wants to team up with Punk against Hogan and Cena. But I have a feeling they have bigger plans than that. But
well, I mean, Punk's involved with the New Age Outlaws right now.
Yeah, that's true.
The Old Age Outlaws.
That's true.
I think maybe Punk needs some sort of something.
Yeah.
I really want Punk to do a heel turn.
Yeah.
I don't like what's happening with Punk. I feel like they're starting to marginalize him. We're a very Punk-friendly house.
Right.
And I think the move for the Punk is to join the Shield.
Now, what would your son do? He'd flip out if that happened, right?
No, he would love it. The thing about my son is he secretly likes some of the bad guys.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, he's into the Wyatts. Like I think deep down he was a little disappointed when Daniel Bryan turned on the Wyatts.
Yeah.
I think he was really enjoying that whole storyline of whatever was going on there. I guess it could be described as Appalachian cult worship.
Right.
With like a twinge of, I don't know, there was a prison kind of feel to it a little bit.
It's very backward. Look, and the weirdest and scariest thing about him, it gets us every time. I'll be watching with my sons, and it's hard to explain, but they have this like video thing that goes along with their entrance.
Yeah.
And the very last frame before they jump in the commercial is this, what is that, a giraffe or a goat head on the, what is that? You know what I'm talking about.
The goat head, the goat mask?
Yeah, the goat mask. But
it's like the mask that people wore in that home invasion movie.
Yeah, that was it. And there's weird flash, half a second flash, maybe like 24 frames or something, and it gets we jump back every time we see it. It's terrifying.
I will say about Batista, not happy with his entrance music. It's just not good. It's not up to standards. It's just not good enough.
Yeah.
Really, I you're out for 4 years. You might want to like regroup with the music. It was a bad choice.
That's true. Makes you think he maybe not be around for a long time. I don't know.
Are there Royal Rumble odds, or do they not have odds for wrestling because it's scripted?
No, I think they will have them later in the week. There's always a site that has them.
Well, one thing to remind, we're going to go, but one thing to remind the listeners here, if you've never been part of a Royal Rumble party, you're really missing out. You're letting the best in life go by.
Yeah.
You get, if you're in college and you're listening to this, get the pay-per-view, get 9 of your buddies, so you have 10 total, pick numbers out of a hat, and then whoever runs out 1 through 30, you get that number. So if you have like 2, 20, and 29, you get those wrestlers when they run out, and it's really exciting. And the best part is when somebody terrible runs out that you know has no chance, it's over immediately. So every time there's an entrance, it's super exciting. Or in this case, like if you got John Cena or Batista, with your number, you see those guys run out, like, oh, I got a chance.
Very exciting. Look, the bottom line is there's no football to bet on. You're not going to bet that stupid Pro Bowl where no one's trying. This is a good game. This is something to do Sunday night.
Get the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
If you're in college, put in $20 per person. If you're out of college and making more money than that, $250, and winner takes all. And it'll be the most surprisingly exciting gambling experience you've had. I highly recommend it. Royal Rumble pool.
Mark Bill's words. It's the most extraordinary wrestling pay-per-view event since a Colossal Jostle.
It's also the most extraordinary office pool since I don't know what, March Madness.
Right.
Saving Private Ryan. The Saving Private Ryan. Who's going to die next pool? The Cuz. As always, a pleasure. Good job by you.
Good job by you, Billy.
Talk to you later.
All right, buddy.
Target percent off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Hey, what you got there, Golick?
The new Subway Chipotle Chicken Melt with guacamole.
Man, that looks good.
Yeah, this new guac is really bringing the flavor.
Got one for me too, right?
Well, yes and no. Mostly no. Well, really, all no.
Try the irresistible new Subway Chipotle Chicken Melt with guacamole, juicy grilled chicken strips with Monterey cheddar, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of jalapeno. Subway, eat fresh.